a campus massacre at Virginia Tech University. Shootings at 2 different locations on campus. 33 people, including the gunman, are dead.
This is something that no one will ever get over. I mean, the people who died, yes, they've finished their pain, but the pain for everybody else will go on forever.
The massacre is the deadliest shooting rampage in U.S. history. Good evening. I'm Kurt Warren.
And I'm Barbara Ciara. Pat McReynolds is on his way to Blacksburg as we speak. Now, police and the president of Virginia Tech just wrapped up a news conference just about an hour ago, and they both say that when the call of shots fired came in from Ambler Johnson Hall, they believed that it was a domestic disturbance, and they also believe the gunman had left the campus. 2 hours later, the bloody massacre continued on the other side of campus at Norris Hall. Your News Channel 3's Giovanna Bechard is live at Virginia Tech with more on that news conference. But first, she is joined by a tech student, right, Giovanna?
That's right, Barbara. We're going to get to her in a second. We first want to let you know there are 15 people injured on top of the 33 people that are dead, confirmed dead. We also believe published reports are saying that one of those injured is a former Denby Baptist graduate from Newport News. We were told he was shot in the arm. Right now, we are learning more, though, from students who were here at the time. Joining me now live is Holly Whitty. She is a junior here on campus. Holly, I understand you were on the bus on your way to school. What happened? What were the bus drivers telling you?
That's right. Before I left my apartment in the morning, I had gotten an email saying that there was a shooting incident on campus, but it didn't indicate that classes were canceled or anything. So I got on the bus as usual, and before we were right about to pull onto campus, we heard over the bus driver's intercom system another bus driver saying, "Oh my God, I have somebody on my bus that needs to get to the hospital." And at that time, my bus driver called somebody, contacted them on the radio, and then he turned around and told us, he was like, "Somebody's shooting in Norris Hall, students are jumping out of windows," and he was like, go home, and he just opened the doors and students just started running.
At this point, mass chaos on the campus.
Yeah, absolutely. At that time, nobody knew at all what was going on. So that combined with what the bus driver had told us, people were just running as fast as they could.
I imagine right now, you know, the police are not saying yet if these two are connected, these two shootings. They're not going that far. You're concerned for your safety?
Yeah, me and my roommate were actually watching the press conference when they said that it was presumptuous to assume they were linked. And so that raises worries in us, you know. Is there another gunman that we, you know, should be afraid of? So that definitely raises a lot of worries.
Thank you very much, Holly. Holly Whitty, a junior here on campus. Police telling us that right now they do not have anyone in custody, and they would not go so far as to say they are looking for another gunman. But again, they are not yet connecting those two incidents. They happened about 2 hours apart on opposite sides of the campus. And as you mentioned earlier, they believe that the first shooting, the shooter had left the campus. So they're not yet saying how many guns he had, but they right now do believe that there is only one shooter, but still not taking that step to connect the two. We do know that there is certainly increased security on campus. The campus right now is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out. Now, this is the second shooting on Virginia Tech's campus this year so far. Police reviewed the security after that first shooting in August when an inmate escaped and shot a hospital guard, is accused of shooting a hospital guard and a security guard. They reviewed the security then, and they're reviewing the security now after today's shooting.
After every incident, we do a complete review of how it was handled, how we can make improvements, as we did with the Morva situation in the fall. But it's one of these things that no one anticipated, and you have to remember that you can only make the decision based on the information you know at that moment in time, and you don't have hours to reflect on it. You have to take immediate action.
And certainly a lot of grief. You see the flags here flying at half staff. We have just learned that Governor Kane is leaving overseas to come here. His plane is leaving in 5 hours to come to the campus. He plans to be here at the memorial service tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Again, campus on lockdown. The classes have been canceled for obviously today and tomorrow. They're reviewing to see if the classes will be canceled on Wednesday. President Bush has also spoken with the president here of the university, expressing his sincere concern and grief for what has happened here in Blacksburg. Parents right now are being asked not to come to campus unless it's absolutely necessary. Instead, the students are being advised that they should call home, let their parents know exactly what what is going on. Right now, we still do not have a full list of all the victims involved. Police telling us that they hope to have that tomorrow. A lot of concern for the students as well, not knowing if their friends are on that list. They're all still trying to figure out exactly what happened. We do believe that the gunman took his own life. That's what police are telling us. And we also do not know his identity. He did not have any kind of identification on him. So we are still working to try to figure out exactly what happened here. Certainly a lot of questions and a lot of grief. Live in Blacksburg, Giovanna Bechard, your News Channel 3.
As Giovanna just said, police are still trying very hard to piece together exactly how this campus massacre played out. As you've heard, the first shootings happened in the dorm around 7:15 this morning, and it was about 2 hours later when the second round of gunfire erupted at Norris Hall. Students and faculty are questioning why the gunman was able to strike a second time. They say the first notification of the shootings came in a vague email around 9:26 this morning. It said, quote, "A shooting incident occurred at West Ambler Johnson earlier this morning. Police are on the scene and are investigating." The message did warn students to be cautious and contact police about anything suspicious. Now, we have received quite a few calls from concerned parents and friends of students wanting to know exactly how they can get more information.
Yeah, Barbara, here's what we can let you know. The Inn at Virginia Tech is set up as an information location for parents arriving on campus. We also have a phone number for you to call. Grab a pen and paper. Here is that number. It's 1-877-200-3360. Again, that is 1-877-200-3360. And if you didn't get it, weren't able to write that down, we will show you that number again in a few minutes. Right now, Virginia Governor Tim Kaine on his way back from Japan. Kaine had been in Tokyo, set to begin a 2-week Asian trade mission. That is off. He's canceling that, and he'll be back in the Commonwealth tomorrow. A statement from Kaine says it is, quote, difficult to comprehend senseless violence on this scale. Kaine says the state is working closely with police, medical officials, and Virginia Tech to provide any additional resources and support that may be needed. He's also declared a state of emergency.
Now, while students grappled with news that their campus had been turned into a killing field, Hampton Roads parents stayed glued to their phones and computers, hoping to hear from their children. Your News Channel 3's Bob Matthews spent part of the day with one Norfolk family who's still going through that ordeal tonight. Bob?
Barbara, Morgan and Tracy Tremere's son Nate had classes in the building where a lot of those students were killed. The Tremeres had to play the waiting game today twice. First to hear if their son was okay, and then for word on many of his friends. Morgan and Tracy Tremere were lucky. They heard within an hour that their son Nate was okay, safe, locked down inside his dorm room.
There were police all outside their buildings, and if any student put their head out of a dorm window, the police had a loudspeaker that said, please get back into the building.
We're waiting to hear from one girl from church.
Once she knew her son was okay, Tracy started to work the phones and the internet. Nate has many friends from Norfolk and Virginia Tech, and not knowing if they were okay was almost as bad as worried about her own child.
My heart right now and my mind is on all those other parents and families and the kids who've lost best buddies and good friends and teachers trying to deal with it all.
Tracy kept checking her email looking for news about one child in particular, a student named Taylor Priest.
I can't imagine how they're feeling and the families. I mean, do they know yet?
While many are still waiting, Tracy got good news just before we left, an email from Taylor's mom.
She said Taylor was not there. She'd come home for the weekend and was driving back this morning when she heard about the news, and she stopped at her grandmother's in Lexington. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, the Tremeres are on their way to Blacksburg tonight. Tracy says she just wants to see her son, even though she knows that he's okay. Bob Matthews, your News Channel 3.
You know, friends of Virginia Tech students are really frantically trying to connect through their social networking like websites and MySpace, and students on campus are zapping messages to each other just trying to find out more about what happened on their campus. Your News Channel 3's Mike Mather shows us how the students are keeping in touch. Mike?
Well, thousands of Tech students have MySpace and Facebook pages, and some are using these sites to check on their friends, while others are already using their web spaces to memorialize this tragedy. Now, this student is 19, and I hope you can see her. She is on her site saying that she's asking for prayers today after the shootings that claimed more than 30 lives. And this 18-year-old student took down her picture and replaced her picture and her screen name to mark today's massacre. Now, all over the area, people are checking in on their spaces. This woman right here simply posted, "Pray for the victims, I'm okay." In the newsroom, Mike Matthew, your News Channel 3.
And tonight, a prayer service is going to start in a little more than an hour.
It starts at 7:30 at the Christ United Methodist Church in Newport News. Everyone is invited. Your News Channel 3's Rick Holmes is there live. And Rick, I understand you spoke with a Virginia Tech parent earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You remember Holly that Giovanna spoke with. We actually spoke with her mother who lives in Poquoson. We were in Poquoson today. We were also in Newport News today. And these communities are horrified. They want to connect to this unspeakable event. And that's what's going to happen tonight at Christ United Methodist Church. That's in Newport News. They figure somebody, a family, a friend member, is going to know somebody connected to this. And so they want to be able to meet with those people and grieve with them tonight. That's going to be at 7:30. But we did talk with Holly's mother. Her name is Nancy Whitty. We went over to the house today. She was frantic, as you can imagine, all morning. Finally heard from Holly. Holly was fine. But of course, now she is relying on her daughter to get more information from the campus, find out how others are doing.
Yeah, in fact, we talked about it. I said, you really should call all your friends and, all the parents that you know and see what you can find out, because, you just want to know. I think not knowing is the worst thing. And just about everybody I know has got a kid there or, a sibling there, and just about everybody has gone there. It seems like, at least in Poquoson, it's a huge group of folks.
And this massacre just touching so many people in the Hampton Roads area. Again, that vigil tonight, that prayer service will be at Christ United Methodist Church. That is at 133 Deep Creek Road in the city of Newport News. That starts at 7:30 tonight. Live at Oyster Point, Rick Holmes, your News Channel 3.
And we are continuing to follow all of the developments in this campus massacre.
And coming up, we're going to hear from a Virginia Tech student about the alert system that was used to let students know what was going on and how to get to safety.
More than 24 people were hurt in the campus massacre. So how can you talk to your kids about situations like this, and how can you mentally prepare them? We'll talk live with a clinical psychologist for those answers.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Harvey. It's a 1-2 punch from the storm that's moved through this weekend, rain this weekend, and now high winds pushing through the area. I'll let you know how long they'll stick around.
And more of our continuing coverage in just moments.
This is your News Channel 3's at 6 special coverage of Virginia Tech's campus massacre. Many on the Virginia Tech campus were awakened this morning by the sounds of gunfire.
But one student there tells us it was an alarm system in Blacksburg that actually got him out of bed.
There's alarm systems placed throughout the town and they say just because from back in the day they'll let people know about bad weather conditions, and it actually woke me up saying that it was an emergency alarm system and advising everybody to stay away from windows and doors. And I initially thought that it was actually a tornado warning because the wind is very bad down here today. And like 5 minutes later, one of my fraternity brothers, they called me to see if I was okay. And I asked them why, because I didn't know, and they told me that there was a shooting on campus, and at that time, it was only known that one person was killed and 2 other people were shot. And then that's when I woke up, and I saw people had already emailed me and